it's my kids have rare conditions, different, and I was looking for a support group. I was looking for enlightenment into how I can help myself and help my kids locally. So that's how I stumbled into rare diseases in Kenya. And we started by creating awareness on Rare Disease Day, which is a global awareness day that is held on the last day of February. So by creating awareness, we met more people. I met Roselyn, and now the ball gathered momos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were looking on the internet for a group, or?
I actually stumbled across Rare Disease Day in January of 2014. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a day like this. So you feel like you're at home. You know, you enter the village and you see your grandmother waiting for you, like, that's something good. So I started now sharing about Rare Disease Day, asking the global organization, can we do this year in Kenya? They're like, why not? And with each year, we've grown bigger and bigger and bigger, and now we're an organization. Yeah.
Roselyn, what's your story?
So for me, it started with my son, who's now 5 years old, when he was diagnosed with a condition called Joubert syndrome at 4 months, which I'm very lucky. Most people would probably somewhere 10 years and above. I'll probably have been told your son has CP, cerebral palsy. So it was a nightmare. There was ICU, there was HDU, and a lot of hospital stays. But then now I looked for people who are going through the same. And I couldn't seem to get at the time. And then I came across Christine. That is back in 2017.
Yeah.
And then we got talking. Then I was like, okay, I want to meet other people. Then you realize, so far, even the doctors I was meeting, no one had ever heard of Joubert syndrome. There was only one doctor, a neurologist, and says, we know of, but they passed on. So you are kind of, most of the time, like right now, I know there's one person somewhere in the country, somewhere in the northeastern, but as of now, I'm the only one known documented with Joubert syndrome. I'm sure they're there, they're just misdiagnosed. So that got us, talking with Christine, and then said, let's do more. And then now you find other people going through the journey. Some of them it's quite harder than what we have to go through. And that's what made us, do something about it. Because you can see it is really a big gap and a challenge for people. Because it affects people differently. There are those who are grown-ups living with a rare disease, and there are those who are children.
Yeah. That must have been a really tough journey to walk.
Yeah.
Before you get to know that it's a rare disease, can you give us a glimpse of what the journey is like before you actually get to know this is the disease?
For me, it actually started as symptoms. I think I diagnosed my firstborn after like 10 years because the doctors didn't know what happened. Fine, they noticed one symptom at birth. Then as she's growing older, we noticed that she's missing milestones. So we intervene management. So you do therapy, speech, occupational, just what you do to a normal child who has delayed milestones. But then you go online and like...
You mean for the layman, milestones is those things children are expected to do?
Yes, I think
by certain ages.
Yes, like 3 months should be head control, sitting at 6 months or something like that. Then there's walking. So I think my firstborn walked at 3.5 years. You see, that's what a child of 9 months can do. Talking fluently, she started, I think, at 4 or 5 years old. So that's what I mean by delayed milestones. But then you're wondering, you go on and you're like, it just can't be this one symptom. Must be other correlated symptoms. So as you Google, you find there are other members out there who have the same kind of symptoms, and it's actually, like the first one has megalencephaly capillary malformation. That's what I've diagnosed her with. It's like a name for a couple of symptoms put together.
Yeah, those are many words.
It's a mouthful. But you find that what she has is more or less, so once I came up with that diagnosis, I shared it with her doctors, and they're like, I think you're right, this and this. But see, that took me 10 years. And that's because my second-born was born 5 years later, and she had delayed milestones. So we're like, it can't be a coincidence. So we check. Then one day her occupational therapist told me, I think your child has Down syndrome. I'm like, no. So I went online, I Googled what Down syndrome is. I'm like, no. She doesn't seem to have those striking features for Down syndrome. But I'm like, I cannot say he's not right, because my firstborn daughter also had she has an anomaly. So I'm like, let me go actually test the second one for chromosomal analysis, and it came back for a condition called ring 18 chromosome, which is another rare condition. And from there on, I'm like, okay, I won't lie to you, it was a very hard time with that after finding out from my second one, because you're like, I thought we looked out for these conditions when we were getting pregnant for the firstborn. Then it has come something totally different. And then where does that leave you? You don't even know where to start. Doctors do not know. There's a pediatrician who was asking me, can I do a white paper on your daughter? As in, to them, they're saying, this is up to date, I've not met any other Kenyan with either of those two conditions. So that is how you feel like you're drowning in the middle of the ocean by yourself. Mm-hmm. But the advantage of awareness is like now, for example, I come across Roselyn, and as much as our children have different conditions, the journey is more or less the same. The struggle is the same. So it feels a bit like at least I'm not the only one in this journey. So that kind of gave me comfort, but it took a while before I got there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Roselyn?
It's the same. So answering your question regarding diagnosis.
Yes.
For us, we were a bit lucky. Like at 17 months scan, we're told that there's something wrong with the kidneys. They had like cysts, like fluids in the kidneys. So, but the doctor said, don't worry, that tends to go away after a while. So it was a difficult pregnancy. And then now, towards 8 months, my doctor wasn't there. I had to see a different radiographer who was very keen, and he said, there's something missing in your child's brain. That's never good to hear. So of course you are hoping that they are wrong, like the pastor who said, maybe it will disappear. So when the child is born, by then I had already gotten doctors who will be, checking the kidneys, neuro, the head, the brain, and they came ready and they checked and saying, we don't know. I was given a different diagnosis. We're told a Dundee-Walker variant, which there was no information at that time even on the net. So you check and there's nothing. So you say, we will play it by ear and see what goes on. So at 4 months, the pediatrician said, I think we need to do a brain MRI. And that's what they found, like it's called a molar tooth. It's when you check on the brain, there's the image on the brain is like a molar tooth. You know the way the molar tooth is shown? Yeah, it actually looks like there's a sign, it's called a molar tooth sign. And then they said, yeah, this is Joubert syndrome.
Yeah.
Now, with diagnosis, I know there's normally the talk of knowing, does it help? It does. Because it's not CP. CP, there are things that you won't look for. My son has to be screened for kidney functions. You have to check that the liver is still working okay, among other organs. So you have to be vigilant because of the kind of illness that he has.
Yeah. When we talk about rare diseases, even in both your cases, one immediately wonders, is there a cure? Are they reversible? Is there anything one can do?
Okay, so this is the thing. Out of the 7,000 rare diseases that are known, and the number keeps growing, only 5% have treatments. All the others you treat symptomatically.
Just manage.
Just manage what comes up. So like now, for like my son's case, his kidneys, one kidney doesn't work, the other one has picked up from the other one, luckily, but you have to make sure that it's constantly working well. Others have what is called endocrine issues, maybe your hormones, among other things. You'll find that maybe they don't grow as well, so you manage that. So most people you treat symptomatically.
Oh, that is not good.
I know we might sound like doctors, but it's a research you've done for our kids.
Yeah, I can understand. When you have to walk the journey, the only thing you can dig into is information.
Yes.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. I think most parents would, because the moment you hear your child has got this, then you want to find out. What does it mean? What does it? I'm sure by now when you go to the doctor, there are terminologies you just know.
We go with a file.
Actually, we have physical files.
I'm sure you know a lot of things now.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, and so you get together and you want to. What then leads you to say, you know what, we need to do something. We need to come up with an organization.
For me, it's the fact that, like I was saying earlier, for me, I might have had it easier in the fact that I got a diagnosis earlier and I'm able to go take my children constantly to hospital. For us, we think about those people who can't, because these treatments are expensive. Even the fact that even if you don't have treatment, just managing this condition, you have, most of the times, the fathers are the ones who...
Yeah, I'm coming there.
Yes.
Oh, you're going there.
Oh, yeah.
And then the women, you're left to cater for this child who has some diverse
Even
serious
consultation is crazy.
Yes,
It is.
To
Just
see a
basic
specialist.
consult.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then now you have to stop working because this employer will not keep understanding that you have to keep taking this child to therapies and to see a doctor. So it is costly, very costly. So we are advocating for those people. And mostly just to bring that awareness and people to understand. Because we have members who, now the worst part is the ones who have invisible illness, the ones which is not obvious. So someone in the morning was on high heels, in the afternoon they're on a wheelchair. The next day they are back on their high heels. Because their body failed for one, they can't walk, their muscles decided not to work. Okay, not decided, but you know what I mean. So you can imagine this person has to convince others that I am unwell.
I'm not faking it.
I'm not faking it. But if there's awareness about what's going on, at least people can understand that today, for some reason, something triggered the condition. She's on a crisis mode. She has to be on a wheelchair. She will try as functional as possible. Some even maybe they can't leave the bed. 2 days, they're up and about. So someone like that, we are nadangani.
Anatafuta sympathy or something.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
So 2018, since now, you've been seeking to raise awareness.
Yes.
So people can just have an idea that this thing out there. Tell me about the walls you're running into.
Initially getting media just to listen to us. That was a huge one. Because you see, we're just two ladies in the urban area. We're trying to get into the rural setup. So even first getting into the urban setup was a problem. Guys are like, we don't know what that is. It doesn't have an interest to our viewership. So trying to get people to listen to us every single year. Please, it is just an awareness thing. And whether we do this, this is not our day job. We just do it because we need to help the people behind us have an easier journey than what we had. And that was very easy. So like, imagine the person who's struggling to first get that diagnosis, get over that stigma, get over the financial cost of even, as you're saying, consultation. So if you can create awareness, bring in policies and structures around rare diseases, you'll find that even that will affect the person in the village who is being ostracized by family members because, as you said, hii haiko kwa familia yetu. You know how... Yes.
Yeah.
So just to make them understand it's genetic, because 72% of rare diseases are genetic. So you'll find there's nothing you can do about it. So it'll affect probably, like for me now, both my kids. But in terms of helping, in terms of support, because at the end of the day, it's that support that you need to help you face the next day. I'll come to your house today, maybe, I'm your neighbor. I'll come to your house today and take care of your child so you can go run an errand. That is something big for us. It doesn't have to be shika pesa, go to the doctor. It's just day-to-day living that we struggle with.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Some of the other challenges that we also met is that initially when we had the discussion with government, because right now we're working with government, they are our partners. Initially it was a game of numbers. You asked, how many are you? Then we are like 30. So you see, government is like priorities, man. There are these people, there's communicable diseases which are, the limelight is there. Okay, it's moving to NCDs, non-communicable diseases. But then it was a game of numbers. But at the end of the day, when you look at UHC, Universal Health Coverage, it says leave no one behind. There's no asterisk at the, these people, Jipange, Disort. Yes, you see, everybody. And when we have children of someone living with a rare disease, they have it 100%. These percentages don't matter anymore. You have this disease for a lifetime at 100%.
Yeah.
You cannot forget about that.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the medical angle in terms of, going to doctors and things like that. It's experience of many people that very few doctors will actually tell you they don't know.
Yes.
And refer you maybe to somebody who could
help.
Ideally.
That's the scenario it should be.
That should be.
But let me give an example for a rare disease. Like my children, they should have a multidisciplinary team. As Roselyn said, my kids, I see an endocrinologist, I see a nephrologist, I see a neurologist. You see, those three are supposed to be carrying that physical file and telling them this is what we discussed with this other doctor yesterday, because I'm seeing a different doctor today. They should have discussed and said this is the best way to manage this child. We don't have that multidisciplinary approach when it comes to our kids' conditions, because it rarely does it affect rarely do you see one specialist rather. You end up seeing multitude specialists and at different times. So you have to be careful, like this specialist number A doesn't mess up what specialist number B is doing because they have not communicated.
Because the condition is surprising you in many things.
Yes, and as Dr. Roselyn was saying, it's as you go. So you wake up and you find out, oh, today we have hypertension. Okay, let's go see the nephrologist. Then the nephrologist is like, have you checked diabetes? No, let's go check. You can, as in, there's always something new. But the advantage of being able to research about your condition or your child's condition, there's always a support group online. But then again, that's just for the urban people and people who have access to internet, whereby you can get information from abroad where they have done more research on a protocol of how to take care of your child, life hacks, day-to-day hacks. But that, again, as I said, is just to the privileged few.
Yeah. And to add to that, the issue of ideally, what I was referring to is the fact that doctors ideally should refer to you. But you'll find in some centers, this doctor is keeping you on a loop because you have vague symptoms, and some of the rare conditions are like that. You have vague symptoms. It just doesn't make sense. You come back, they check for malaria, no. You come back, they check for HIV, you don't have. You come back, this doctor by this time should know, refer to the specialist. Let's see the specialists investigate further. And from their own, medical scrutiny, they can be able to sort of have an idea what's going on. But then when you keep on a loop, you keep going on the same thing. You get frustrated. Either you move to another doctor, maybe they do the same thing. And that's one of the things that when we are creating awareness, especially with doctors, because we talk with doctors, we just like refer.
It's okay to
after
say,
a while,
I don't know.
It's okay. I'd rather a doctor tells me, I don't know, but let's find out.
Yeah,
but let's find out.
Yeah.
The stigma associated with rare diseases, because we have all seen, maybe as even we have relatives, or we have got people back home, rural areas, who have got a child who is having one condition that is unexplainable. And because it's unexplainable, we say, what you are saying, sio kwetu, ni witchcrafts. How bad is the stigma really?
Oh, it's bad. It is bad, and it's so much worse, especially like you see, like in Christine's case, you have 2 children with a rare condition. Or even with let's assume that if it's not even rare, it's just one of the common, maybe Down syndrome or something, assuming you have 2 children. Or even 3, because for us, most of them are genetic. There's nothing you can do, unless now you switch partners.
Yeah.
So the more they come up, the society starts saying, there's something you did or did not do.
Yeah. Something as basic as dowry. Ukulipa mahari. That is where you've been cast like that. As in, it's sometimes you're like, it doesn't make sense, but it's so rampant, it's so rife that you're like, now imagine that person in the village, if that's what this is an urban person being told. Now imagine that person in the village. Even that sometimes on media, mainstream media, you see stories of where an old woman has been left with her kids alone, they are struggling. That is something that can be managed, but because people around them don't know, they don't even want to associate themselves with them.
Yeah, or sometimes the kids are chained.
Yes. So there's that. There's also now
locked in the back there.
Yes. So there are those who will be kept away from the public eye. People don't want to know. I know of stories where they go outside at night, so that the villagers or people around them do not know what's going on. But then at the end of the day, I say, and that is one of the topics that we are talking about in our webinar next weekend. Is
26th, is it?
Yes, on the 26th we'll have a webinar that is free for everyone. And it's advocating for yourself. When I start talking, like where I live, I talk about it plainly, and anyone who has a question, I welcome it, and I want to talk about it. Then they are more aware, and they know what's going on. Tomorrow, if they see someone else with an issue, either they refer them to me, or they'll know that it's nothing unique. It's like, you can imagine back then when malaria was like, something is wrong.
Or leprosy.
Nowadays, leprosy. Yeah. Now you're sick, go to the doctor. Even in fact, there used to be a song. You get your dawas and you're good.
Yeah, even HIV.
Yeah, TB, as in it's phrases.
So that stigma, that's
so to demystify it.
Yes.
How important is it, like, for example, for especially men to play a role? Because as you people have mentioned, a lot of times it happens, and men are always running.
Yes.
Actually,
except for very few cases, you know.
yeah, but there are very few. We noted. You'll find that it's been noted that rare diseases are not only a health issue in the SDG hierarchy; it's also a gender issue. The burden of caregiving for rare diseases is on women. If it's not the mother, it's a grandmother or the sister siblings. So the burden of care for rare diseases is literally on women. So it's
They're the ones who will give up their jobs to
yes.
stay behind.
If it's a two-income house, for example, and you both can't, the child, like, unfortunately, also the turnover for nannies in our houses is very high, because
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Yes.
To get somebody to
who actually cares
Who
enough for
can
your
cater
child
first,
as
yes.
they are. So that turnover is high. So you'll find, and then as she was saying, how you can't be asking for off every day. I need to go to the doctor and take my child to the doctor. You'll be asked, what are you doing? Because typically normal children grow, you only go for, what do you call it? Vaccines. But as guys, we have clinics day in, day out. So you'll find that the lady is one who has to step back to take care of the child. They lose their career, or by the time they're trying to find their way back into their career, like if it's technology, it's already moved on, you're obsolete. Men can step up in the sense that first understand that this is something that is important for the family.
What's the percentage when you guys are talking to people who have these conditions? What's the percentage men to women, the people you interact with?
Who stick around?
Yeah.
Like if the,
How many guys do we talk to vis-a-vis how many women?
I mean, yeah, like when you say you have your webinars and your
I
meetings
think
and
we can count them in one hand.
that's the thing.
The men.
Even in our team, the men are not there.
Yeah.
They'll support on the background, but to actually come in front and do it, I think it's, in a way, men need to exude a certain kind of image or something, I think.
You should tell us.
Yes,
Yeah.
you should tell us. But I think it is such a common thing that you find, the guy left, it was too much, he went.
Or come for an interview, it's a lady who will come.
Yes.
Yet they have both lived the same journey.
Yes.
You get. So it's, even in terms of volunteering for the organization, things you're doing, it's a lady who steps up. Rarely guys.
So in terms of bringing the stigma down, we really do reach out.
Yes.
Need to reach out to men also,
Yeah.
so that at least we, as education, because is moving and all of us are getting empowered by knowledge. Even those people who become fathers can also understand that, if this happens, this is not witchcraft. This is not,
Yes.
Because even if we were to check for genetic conditions with a partner before you get married, how many will you?
Guys
And
will
you cannot
never
screen
get
for
married.
7,000.
You cover.
Yes.
Guys will
And
never get
sometimes you
married.
might have it.
Yeah.
Like you see, like my second born is the one having the condition. My first one doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily guarantee that all children will
There
have
could be a
this
skip.
condition.
Yeah.
Or sometimes
yes.
you might have a mutation, but it doesn't present itself.
Or you might just be the two of you together. If you look at your lineage,
Yes.
you're fine.
It's
Then the two
what
of
we
you-
call de novo.
De novo,
It
yeah.
just by
It's
chance.
just like that particular point. It starts from there. So you see, as you're saying, if you start looking, and then you see when you look, you always find.
Yes, you'll find something.
You'll always find something. So.
Yeah. So you guys have seen all the emotions, right? Witchcraft,
Yes.
maombi.
Yeah.
And
Casting
religious
of demons.
beliefs are
Yes.
not helping.
Yes. It doesn't help. It makes the journey harder.
Yeah.
When people come and tell you, you need to have done this, or you didn't do this, or
Let's go pray.
or even sometimes even in the church settings, we've had horror stories where a mother had stepped outside, come back, find these women are casting out demons on this child. Would you go back to that church? Would you even go to church? The church, the place you're supposed to go and get peace.
Solace,
and-
yeah.
So it's not only the church, but you get my point. If the community at large learned to support and withhold our judgments and just support where we can.
Yeah.
As is.
As is.
Yeah, I look at you guys and I really admire you. I'm sure that this journey has had some very difficult moments. Have you ever felt like giving up at any point?
There are times when you lock out and you say, I have gone to seek my own. But that's the thing that, as much as I want to say that, sometimes I'm able to see the clouds looming and coming, as I call them, that I can feel the darker days coming. Because it's so easy, especially when like you find another child who is the same age as yours, and it's so easy to compare. So you have to mentally block that.
Oh, so you see that. Oh,
You see that's the
Yeah.
thing.
okay,
So
they're running.
yeah, they're running, and then
My
my child
could
would
have
have.
been-
Oh.
So you find that's a lot that people say that even people with just having special children, you'll naturally want to compare. So you have to stop yourself. You have to really self-care is something that people are starting to learn, but it's important that people, especially if you're the one constantly caregiving, you take time off because it will get overwhelming, and sometimes you just want to take a step back. But when you're two, at least one can take a step back, the other one,
Carried each
tag
other
team.
somehow.
Yes.
But it's true. Also, to add on to what Roselyn is saying, personally, especially when I found out about my second born, I hit a really low. Because I'm like, what
It's
did I
happening
do?
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's different. And we really tried to look out. I think I had scans every month for the second pregnancy just to make sure it's not the first condition. But of course, it was something different, so it wasn't picked up. But you ask yourself at the end of the day, when you get a message from somebody, thank you, today was a good day thank you for helping me, today was a good day for me. You sleep a bit better, and it kind of like re-energizes you, and you're like, you know what, whatever I'm doing is not in vain. You may just help one person, but that just keeps you pushing. Even if people push you for a week, that's more than enough.
Tell me, are our insurance companies accommodative? Because I can imagine when you talk about tests, and you're doing this and that tomorrow, and they have spoken about going to so many, consults, specialists, dealing with different, side effects, week after week. What has been the journey like?
For me, initially, we were in the hospital every week. Initially, for the first 6 months, at least 2 times a week for one thing or the other. So we would max out our insurance within 6 months if we're lucky.
They will come and tell you, hey, Sasa.
No. See, of course, your limit.
Yeah.
Now you have to get another one. So you have to get another insurance. You're always juggling. Of course, it puts a dent on your financial basket where you had put money aside. But insurances, if they do cover, there are those who will cover congenital, they call them congenital conditions. They'll put it, let's say for example, you're covered for 5 million, but congenital will be 300K.
Oh, you see that difference is none.
If assuming you get like that. So if you have 1 million, you'll hear maybe they'll cover 100 or 50K. So you have a big cover, but
It's
congenital
not helping.
will not cover.
And then let's be honest, we take covers for our kids, not for us.
True.
So if I'm paying premium, and the premium is almost as much as how much my child will be covered for, is there a point of getting that cover? You do the math, you're like, it's not going to help my child, because and then you see there's that clause for pre-existing,
Yes.
where congenital is you are born with it. Then there's pre-existing,
Yes.
and then God forbid should it be chromosomal. That's even an exclusion in some insurance companies. So there's a time my kid's going to be covered.
Yeah, right now there's a big talk about universal health care. And, government is trying to get everyone to get into NHIF. In fact, they're not trying to. They are mandating it. Yes. That you will pay NHIF, or, you will not receive X services. As you guys are looking at that, and now let's look at the layman who's going to rely on NHIF.
Yes.
Have you looked at what NHIF has done? What's it doing? What's the reality about what's happening with the rare cases and NHIF?
Yes. So we have had discussions. In fact, our last webinar we had NHIF, and they're saying it was something that they're rolling out and they couldn't quite discuss it. But one of the things, this is a challenge. So NHIF will cover you, but what does it cover you? The kind of diseases that our members have, they're what you call syndromic. It affects your brain, it affects your heart, multiple organ systems are affected. NHIF will only cover what is called primary health care. Beyond that, you need to see a brain specialist. Will NHIF cover? You need to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might not cover. Okay, it will give you the basic, at least be able to see a doctor, maybe manage, but beyond a certain point, it will not help our members.
So in a perfect system,
Yes.
quote unquote, what would you guys like to see?
One, policies and plans and, government documents. Government being involved to make these plans or documents in a layman time. That means for the country, we've decided these are the rare conditions. We will manage them as is. You see, like diabetes, cancer, they have their own strategic document or a plan or how to manage these diseases. For rare diseases, there's nothing like that. So that's something that they're now starting to address.
Yeah, and it's at all cancer are still trying to push to make it a national disaster.
Yes,
and it's cancer.
But a lot has been done for cancer. There's a registry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rare diseases, they are not registries. These are us trying to document. We've seen a rare disease, we document that here. We've seen it at this place. But the government does not have this. But you can imagine if it came from top, where they, at some point there was talk of ensuring that all level 5 and above, that they document rare diseases. That information will be key. You'll be able to start seeing that some rare diseases maybe are more common, which we've seen, like the muscular dystrophies are
multiple sclerosis.
They are more in this country as opposed to the ones that...
I get you. And then maybe they could pour money into research.
Exactly.
And maybe discover that, this is because of this certain area and this these are the underlying factors.
And then you see also...
like how we had fluorine. There was a time people had...
Yes.
And
so the issue of policies and documents that would help, a registry would help, because we cannot put resources for things that we don't understand. How many people are affected? How is it affecting?
True.
Research and data is important. That is something we are also pushing for. Another thing, though it will take a while, but it can be done, is having a newborn screening protocol. That means there are diseases, I tell you, Levy, like phenylketonuria, it's called PKU. This disease, you just need to change your diet and a few things, and this child has an almost normal life. We have cases and members who, by the time they realize this is the disease, this child already has intellectual disability. They are,
and it's irreversible.
It is reversible. It is so much.
Their
brain
so
is
many
damaged.
of us are just horrified, just thinking,
we had children and we never even thought, let's check on.
Yeah.
It was expected the baby would walk, the baby would talk, the baby,
but it's not.
Yes.
And then also, I'd like to add on our referral system. It takes too long. That loop she was talking about, whether in private or public, doesn't matter. Just release the patient to a higher specialty. I admit that I do not know. Let me send you to somebody else who will help you better. That referral system, because by the time we get to some form of diagnosis or thought process,
we've wasted time.
We've wasted time,
and you cannot regain that. So
And
much
the
damage
condition
has
progressed.
been.
Yes.
You no longer have options to do. Before maybe you'd have had surgery or blah blah blah. Or sometimes you find that there's been so many investigations. You've had surgeries, what, and you're told, "Oops, we shouldn't have done that." Actually, your issue was this.
And then you find that a lot of our members also lose trust in the healthcare professions because we feel like guinea pigs.
Probed.
And they don't listen to us. So imagine if I'm coming to you, Levy, and I'm telling you I have a headache. You're like, no, I think your hair is too tight. I'm like, no, I have a headache because of maybe it's my eyesight, for example. Like, no, you've held your hair too tight. So you see, by the time I'm trying to convince you why I think I have a headache and you're not listening, I'll give up and move to somebody else.
So the approach to how people are, are seen, even by the doctor, should actually change. And that cuts across the board, even with cancers.
Yes.
Many times it takes a while before somebody knows because of that same process. They're being bounced off here, they're treating H. pylori, they're treating I don't know what. Kidogo, they're in end stage or something.
Or sometimes you're being told it's in your head.
Yes.
Because clinically they can't see it, but you are feeling it. So.
And then in the medical school, rare diseases maybe max 2 pages to cover the 6,000 diseases plus 7. So he says they need to listen if they're there. They need to listen to us because we've done research on one item only.
One disease. My disease.
Yes.
I have time to research. I will tell you the latest research that has come out for my son's condition. The doctor wouldn't know. We don't expect them. They have so many. So when we come on the table, we need to be able to come as, I want to say, equal partners, in the sense that there's something I bring. I stay with this child, I can be able to see, I've done the research. Then we complement each other.
And you keep the records,
and then now they have also a lot to offer as doctors. So together we can be able to, manage this patient that is my child or whoever.
Because we're all after the same goal. We're not competing.
True.
Treat my child.
I agree with you. Imagine that we have 6 minutes. What do you want people out there to do?
To do?
How do they plug in?
webinar for starters.
This is the time to talk about it. Yes. So there's a webinar this coming Saturday.
The 26th.
The 26th,
next
yes.
Saturday,
This is,
yeah.
to look out on our social media handle for more details. To plug in issues of patients' rights and how to deal with doctors and what that is important, especially with rare disease, because you're constantly seeing several doctors. You need to understand what are your rights. What should you ask? We have people saying, "Oh, what is this medication for?" I'm like, you should have asked your doctor when you were in there.
Thank
You know.
Very good points.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's a conversation.
What should you ask is a whole thing.
Yes, so we have a
Exactly.
topic on patient
Patients
empowerment
Yeah.
and rights.
Yes.
We also have a topic on individual advocacy, whereby my child has reached where they are because of my voice for them, or if I'm the patient, I've reached where I am because I have pushed for my. So we need to let people know that they can talk for themselves or the people they're caregiving for, so that they can get their
Better
correct,
treatment
better
or better
treatment.
diagnosis.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So there's also that discussion we're going to have. We're also going to just have like a more or less discussion.
Even
on,
MOH will come on
Yeah,
board.
the Ministry
Ministry of
supposed to
Health
be
will
there,
be there, and they'll talk about what they hope to achieve, or rather what they are looking to doing to,
because now they are talking rare diseases.
exactly to what's the word? What are they going to do in matters rare diseases in Kenya? But beyond that, for the public, what do we want to know? Be kind, be compassionate.
Yeah.
If someone has a condition, even if it's undiagnosed yet, just be kind and compassionate. Yes.
So there's somebody watching us who probably has somebody who is having a condition that they can't figure out. What would you tell them?
One, I would tell them reach out
Speak
to
them
us.
right there.
One, don't lose hope. It's so easy to lose hope in this journey, especially if you're a grown up and you're the one living with the disease. Don't lose hope, or if it's a child. Reach out to other people. Don't go at it alone, because it can get quite overwhelming. So reach out to us. We can be able to help. I know there's so many other diseases. People come to us even for diseases like autism. They're not rare, but we can be able to refer you to where you can get support.
Are they going to have access to our contacts? Or
Yes,
this is where I plug
this is
in?
where we're coming in.
Oh, okay.
How do we find you?
Our website is www.rarediseasekenya.org.
Pole pole.
www.rarediseasekenya.org. Our email is info, but everything is on the website. But you can also get us on phone on 0701 025 753. Allow me to repeat that: 0701 025 753. Then we will pick up the conversation from there.
Right. I'm so glad that you came today. So the webinar,
Yes,
that's on
it's
26th of
next
February.
Saturday. Yes.
Next Saturday.
How do we get there?
Oh, and then we'll be lighting up buildings
Oh,
in
yes,
Nairobi.
in Nairobi, in the
Yes.
commemoration. It's called an illumination campaign. It's a global one, whereby they're lighting up different buildings in commemoration for Rare Disease Day. So we'll be lighting up. So if you see Nairobi is lit up in the middle of the night, don't worry, just know it's Rare Disease Day.
So you log into
Officially.
Napata Wapi.
Log in your
webinar.
webinar.
Oh, you get it on our social media site.
On our website, yeah, we'll post everything. Everything will be there. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Rare Disease KE. That's our handle for all channels, at Rare Disease KE.
You're doing a very noble job, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Levi, also for allowing us to tell the public
Yeah.
about our story.
Yeah. I'll attend the webinar, and then we'll talk about it some more, because I feel like we have just,
Scratched.
yeah.
Barely.
Barely. And yet, if you are the people who are keeping the data, I can imagine. Christine Mutena
Yes.
and Roselyn Odero, co-founders of Rare Disease KE. You can find them on their handles at Rare Disease KE or at rarediseasekenya.org.
Yes. Thank you.
Or get in touch with us. We'll help you get in touch with them if you need to do that. They'll be celebrating Rare Disease Day on 26th of February. There'll be a webinar. It'll be on all those social media sites. We'll also have it on ours so that you can be able to plug in and find help. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
God bless you. Have a good day. That's 59 minutes for today. Stay tuned for Leah coming up with Ilosu. We'll see you tomorrow.
GoTV is giving your TV new life by stepping up your entertainment at no extra cost to you. Upgrade to GoTV Value to watch GoTV Plus. Already on GoTV Value? Then upgrade to GoTV Plus and watch GoTV Max. If you're on GoTV Plus, upgrade to GoTV Max to enjoy the brand new GoTV Super Package. Don't wait for the best sport, international entertainment, and local shows. Step up today. It's on us. GoTV, love it.
vinywa vyetu tuseme Yesu ni Bwana.
Oh, asante,
asante Bwana, wastahili sifa zote,
utukufu
na heshima, hata nguvu ni zako
Baba.
umeinuliwa sana duniani na mbinguni.
Oh, asante,
asante Bwana,
wastahili
sifa zote,
utukufu
na heshima, hata nguvu ni zako
Baba.
umeinuliwa sana duniani na mbinguni. Nashangilia kwa kazi zako, nikisema wastahili, kwa matendo ya mikono yako, nikisema wewe ni Bwana. Kwa uumbaji wako pia, jina lako litukuzwe. Nashangilia kwa kazi zako, nikisema wastahili, kwa matendo ya mikono yako, nikisema wewe ni Bwana. Kwa uumbaji wako pia, jina lako litukuzwe.
Oh, asante,
asante Bwana, wastahili sifa zote, utukufu na heshima, hata nguvu ni zako
Baba.
umeinuliwa sana duniani na mbinguni.
Oh, asante,
asante Bwana, wastahili sifa zote,
utukufu
na heshima, hata nguvu ni zako
Baba.
umeinuliwa sana duniani na mbinguni. Hakuna Mungu kama wewe, uwezo wote ni wako Baba. Bwana Yesu aliutoa uhai wake kwa ajili yetu, akalipa gharama ili mimi na wewe tuokolewe. Hakuna Mungu kama wewe, uwezo wote ni wako Baba. Bwana Yesu aliutoa uhai wake kwa ajili yetu, akalipa gharama ili mimi na wewe